today's video, we're gonna be talking all about bid strategies in Google Ads. More specifically, I'll be diving into each bid strategy, what they mean, how they work, and based on the goals you have, what bid strategy I recommend for you. Now, I've audited over $100 million in ad spend, and the truth is you could have the best product, the best landing pages, the coolest ads, but if you're selecting the wrong bid strategy, you're either one, gonna get a really poor ROAS, or two, you're simply gonna prevent yourself from ever being able to reach your fullest potential in Google Ads. And this is likely the reason you find it hard to scale your Google Ads account. That being said, let's dive right in. So real quick, just to show you proof that bid strategies matter and they can impact how much money you're spending and the result you're getting, let me just show you one of my clients' examples. And so I had taken this client on the end of September going into October. And so what you're gonna see here is I'm gonna show a comparison on October versus the previous time period. So the previous 31 days versus my first 31 days with the client. And so as you can see, clicks stood relatively the same, cool. But look, we spent 62% less on almost the same amount of clicks. Our cost per click went down 62%. And our ROAS went up 114%. So essentially, we spent less money for the same amount of clicks, same conversions most likely, but the ROAS was much, much stronger. So again, this is just a small example, but I see this in almost every ad account audit I do is one, either people have the wrong bid strategy set up and they're simply just overpaying for clicks, or two, they do not know how to manipulate bid strategies to work for them so they can continue to scale profitably. So before we get into the weeds on the various bid strategies that Google Ads offers, let's talk about one, what is a bid strategy, and two, how have they evolved over the years? Well, a bid strategy is essentially setting a plan for how much money you're willing to pay to get people to click your ads. And then Google uses that to figure out if your ad gets shown and how often compared to other advertisers who are bidding for that same keyword. Also, there are currently 12 bid strategies that exist into Google Ads, and they can really be bucketed into two categories. You have your manual bidding, and then you have your automated or your smart bidding. And so what is the difference between these? Very high level. Manual sounds just like what it is. You are manually adjusting these bids for the auction so you can determine how much you're willing to pay per click whenever your keyword is typed in. This is a very manual and tedious process, can be very effective, but you have to know when to use it. And in most cases, I actually recommend that you use smart bidding. And so smart bidding or automated bidding strategies, really when you're leveraging AI to do the bidding for you in real time. And so the primary reason I like automated bidding strategies is simply because I do not have to sit there and manually update my bids on my keywords daily. So a lot of advertisers who've been in the game for 10 to 15 years have a harder time with the evolution of bid strategies because they like to feel like they have control over the ad account. But just as a side note, if you are so stuck in your way in terms of I've seen this work in one ad account, or I used to manage Google Ads 5 years ago and I do not want to test anything else that's new, cutting edge, or that I just simply disagree with, then you are limiting yourself. And this doesn't only just go for bid strategies. This goes for match types. This goes for account structure. This goes for how you should be doing your conversion tracking. This goes for leveraging AI in Google Ads. I am all for adopting new software, new features, and testing in your ad account. So that's the biggest thing. So, well, smart bidding, again, it's just an automated process. It essentially knows what the bid should be based on your goals. Manual bidding is actually fairly one-dimensional. They are only looking at the cost per click that you're going to give and that you set. And so you will pay that max CPC or below it. You still have some control in the ad account, which is great, and that's all good. However, the goal in an ad account is not to get clicks at a cheap cost. The goal is to make money. And so why automated bid strategies are evolving and becoming more and more effective is because you're ditching the one-dimensional way of thinking about Google Ads and you're allowing AI to go even deeper. So the way that smart bidding works is they look at the user's previous search history, they look at your conversion data, they look at your website, and they say, hey, based on the intent of this user, what we know that they've searched in the past, what exists on your website, and what conversion actions you are saying are important to you that this user completes on your website. So whether that be a purchase, whether that be a lead form submission, a phone call, we know that this person is in market for what you have to offer, and we have very high confidence that they will actually do that action. And so when you leverage AI, or in other words, smart bidding, you allow the AI to look at these other factors that you do not consider when you do manual CPC. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the video. Let's dive into the major bid strategies in Google Ads and my personal recommendations on each of them. So to kick things off, let's start with target CPA. Target CPA essentially stands for target cost per acquisition. This is essentially where you give Google a target for them to hit a specific conversion action at that cost. So if you say, hey, I'm giving you a $50 target cost per acquisition and your goal is to get more leads, they will strive to get you a $50 cost per lead. So to dive into a little bit more data and understanding around this, let's dive into the guide here. Google sets bids to help you get the most conversions at your target cost per acquisition. So this is essentially the understanding that I gave around the cost per lead. This is an excellent choice for campaigns with strict conversion goals and predefined cost per action. So if you're a business and you know that you need a specific number of leads for the month and you have a very fixed budget, this could be one where you tell Google, hey, we need 50 leads and this is our budget. So based on our budget, we need each lead to come in at this. And of course, you're gonna wanna give them some variance, but this is a very good campaign type for those who are running lead generation business models, or even to be honest, e-commerce brands have worked really well with this campaign type as well. It just does not look at the overall ROAS. So they're looking at just the leads, not necessarily if they're gonna convert or not. They're gonna get you a lead at a specific cost, or at least that's what they're gonna aim to do. So stick around to the end because I'm actually gonna go over what the biggest downfalls of leveraging these and how you can limit yourself from leveraging these, because you may be thinking this all sounds good, but this almost seems too good to be true. I can just tell Google what to set my cost per conversion at and they're going to get it. Well, not exactly, and I'll explain in the next section of the video. But for now, let's dive in to the second bid strategy, which is target ROAS. So in a target ROAS bid strategy, Google is concerned about one thing. They're concerned about getting you the goal ROAS that you have for your account. So the bids that they set are, again, going to be in relation to the confidence that they feel are going to lead to the best ROAS, or at least a ROAS that you have set. So we're going to try to get as close to or exceed your target ROAS goal. So diving in again, just to kind of regurgitate what I had just said, this strategy automatically adjusts bids to maximize revenue based on your desired return on ad spend. It's typically used for e-commerce businesses looking to prioritize profitable actions. So again, if you have 20 products and some products are worth $10 and some products are worth $100, a target ROAS bid strategy, if you have a high target ROAS goal, let's say a 500% ROAS goal, Google is likely going to prioritize you getting clicks on the products that cost $100 over the ones that cost $10, because they're more concerned about the actual AOV you're getting, which is going to lead to a higher ROAS if converted on. So this bid strategy can also be leveraged in lead generation. I actually use this bid strategy a lot in lead generation. And you may be thinking, well, that seems weird. What do you mean a lead? A lead isn't revenue. It's not a sale yet. Yes, you're exactly right. However, you can assign a conversion value to a lead based on the predicted close rate. And so what do I mean by this? If you know that it takes 10 leads to close a $1,000 sale, meaning that your average sale is $1,000, but your close rate is 10% on your leads, then you know that one lead is worth $100. 100 times 10, that's 1,000. So you know that your leads are worth $100. So if you assign accurate conversion values based on your close rate and based on your average customer value, you can actually start to leverage target ROAS as a bid strategy to optimize for lead generation behaviors that most closely encourage a sale. And so this is also a really good bid strategy to just encourage a higher qualified lead. That's the biggest issue I hear from lead generation businesses is, hey, we're getting leads, and sure, it's a good amount of leads from Google Ads, but none of them are qualified. They speak to our sales team and then they just hang up, or they're calling about Comcast, or they're calling about something completely unrelated. And so using a target ROAS bid strategy and setting the right conversion values on your conversion actions in the back end of Google Ads will allow the AI to optimize for those qualified leads. And with that, let's hop right into our next bid strategy, which is going to be good old maximize clicks. And so this is an automated bid strategy, but they really only care about one thing. I had mentioned that all automated bid strategies are usually tied to revenue. They care about the conversion action, and that's essentially what drives the bidding. Is they're looking forward to how likely is this user who clicks going to convert, and based on that, in relation to the bid strategy that you select and the goals that you select on your bid strategy, what does our bid need to be? Maximize clicks, they disregard the conversion action part of things, and their one goal is, shocker, clicks. They want to get you as many clicks as possible for the daily campaign budget that you have. With targeted keywords and refined audiences, this strategy drives traffic from high quality prospects. Again, caveat, with targeted keywords and refined audiences. So maybe if you're using only exact match keywords, and maybe if, for example, you're using an RLSA campaign where you're targeting people who have already been to the website, already clicked on your search ad, and they're already in market. They've shown that they're in market for your product or service. However, I do not necessarily recommend this campaign type a ton, simply because they disregard the conversion actions that are actually going to drive business forward. Well, there's really only one place I see this bid strategy being leveraged, and the only place I really leverage it for my clients, and that is when the account is fresh, when the campaign is new, and there's zero conversion data. And so let me explain. The automated bid strategies that look at all the conversion actions, so this is going to be Your maximized conversions is going to be your target CPA, your target ROAS, your maximized conversion value. Those are all tied to your conversion data. Again, they are influenced by your conversion data because that's how the bid is set, based on the confidence that those actions actually get done. However, if you have zero conversion data in your account and in your campaign, then the campaign can't leverage those bid strategies because the algorithm doesn't really know what it's bidding toward. It doesn't know confidence toward anything yet. It doesn't know what your customer profile looks like yet. So I'd never keep a client here on maximize clicks long term, but initially it can be very good to jumpstart a client into graduating to another smart bidding strategy that's connected to conversion data. And so a couple more things with this bid strategy is I would never run broad match type with this bid strategy. Broad match types on your keywords can work really, really well, but only when you're leveraging the right bid strategy. And maximize clicks is not the bid strategy you want to use because again, they're only concerned about clicks, not necessarily the quality of the search terms or the prospect that's coming in to click on your ads. So in a nutshell, use maximize clicks for brand new campaigns. Anything else than that, it should be graduated to an automated or a manual bid strategy. Hopping into the next bid strategy, let's talk about maximize conversions. So maximize conversions can work very, very well, especially if you have deep pockets. I've used it in the past and it's been very, very effective. It's worked better than target ROAS and it's worked better than TCPA. And I've also seen those other ones beat maximize conversions out. And the reason they have, and this is really the crux of maximize conversions, is they optimize for conversions only. I know, shocker, but they essentially use your budget and they go, hey, we're going to bid as aggressively as we need to just get them the max number of conversions that they can get in a specific day. And so with maximize conversions, and again, I've spent over $75 million in ad spend. I've audited well over $100 million in ad spend. I have seen maximize conversions consistently be the most expensive bid strategy to run. This is the one that it will get you conversions if you have sufficient conversion data. So you need to at least 30 conversion actions that are firing in a 30-day period for automated bid strategies to work. And so again, Google automatically sets bids to get you as many conversions as possible within your budget. This strategy works well when you have a flexible budget. Again, I mentioned if you have some deep pockets, this bid strategy could do well and it might be worth testing. And you want to optimize purely for conversion volume, regardless of individual cost. Maximize conversions is one I personally do not use as much just because I've seen these CPCs get way out of hand. They're like 3-4 times higher than target ROAS or the TCPA bid strategy, and they get the same amount of conversions. And so if I can control the cost and get the same result, I would probably opt in for that. But all this to say, you should test this for yourself. I'm not saying 100% of the time maximize conversions will suck, but it has been known to be the most expensive from my experience. And anecdotally, this is what I hear across the board from other marketers that I know. Okay, diving into maximize conversion value. So this is actually going to be one that's very similar to target ROAS. They're looking for the value that you have assigned on your conversion actions, and they're going to optimize for the one that can get you the highest value. So regardless of your target ROAS goal, they're just going to try to get you the best ROAS essentially, irregardless of what they have to spend on a CPC limit. So if they have high confidence that they can get you a sale on a product that is $200, then they're going to bid very high for that because in their mind, they're going to go, hey, even though the ROAS won't be that great because the CPC is really high, they're still going to get a lot of value from the conversion that ends up closing or from the sale that's generated from the click. And so they're just looking to get you a purchase at a high value. So they could get you a lower ROAS and the CPCs could be jacked way up as well. Kind of similar to the maximize conversions thing, but this is something that's mostly leveraged for e-commerce businesses. But in most cases, even then, e-commerce businesses have ROAS targets that they want to hit to maintain a certain level of efficiency. And so this is one that can be very, very effective. And I definitely recommend you test out. And so quick side note on maximize conversion value, Optimizer, who's a big SaaS platform that helps people manage their ad accounts, did a huge study on the different various types of bid strategies, over millions and millions of dollars of ad spends, over hundreds of accounts. And they did a test where they looked at all the bid strategies, and maximize conversion value was actually consistently the one that brought in the best ROAS for e-commerce businesses. So again, for e-commerce brands, it can work very, very well. I have tended to notice in my accounts that target ROAS has slightly outperformed maximize conversion value. Again, all that to say, that's my recommendation, that's my experience. There's the data that I've just mentioned from Optimizer and their study. It looked like maximize conversion value was the winning bid strategy on their end when they looked at all these bid strategies across the board for e-commerce. This was not the case for lead generation. They did not do that study. So Again, if you're a lead generation business, do not take me as saying that that is the best bid strategy for lead generation. Alrighty, next on the list is target search impression share. Target search impression share is essentially you telling Google that all you care about is being visible. You are not connected to conversion actions. You're not connected and telling them for the clicks. You just want to be visible for the cheapest cost possible. And so impression share really is your visibility metric. And so when you go to set up your target search impression share as a bid strategy, you have an option to tell Google your desired visibility rate or your desired search impression share that you want to be shown up for, as well as you can give them the max limit for CPC you're willing to pay to get to that visibility goal. And so this one's a little bit more uncommon, but I still leverage this one purely only in my branded campaigns. And the reason why is because my branded campaigns, I am not super concerned about paying a premium price for somebody to convert on my branded terms. I'm just trying to protect my brand name from my competitors. And if someone's searching my brand, they have a high likelihood of converting anyways. And so as long as I can be visible for the cheapest cost possible, I'll take that all day long. So target search impression share is really only a bid strategy I leverage for branded campaigns. Great. Next on the list, we have manual cost per click, which this is the one I have been throwing a lot of dirt on this whole time I've been filming this video. And so let's just dive right into this. Manual CPC is the one that was favored. Kind of old school advertisers still like to use this. This is the one where you manually have to go in and update your bids on a daily basis. And I'll probably just go over it right now. It's right underneath it is enhanced cost per click. It's essentially manual CPC, but it has an enhanced factor. So essentially you give Google the ability to increase it slightly if they find that it will convert or if it's going to be a high quality click. So it's not technically manual bidding. It's a slight piggyback off of manual CPC. And so they're essentially one and the same, very closely related. You can set your limit on a cost per click standpoint that you want to pay for your particular keyword. This again is one that I found very useful for branded campaigns because all I care about is controlling my cost on my branded keywords. So there's been some brands that I've worked with where they have a very competitive market where their brand name is just very general and that's used by a lot of people and could be a prospecting term or it could be a brand term. It could be really either or. And so it's searched and bid on a lot, which makes it a really high competitive click. And so based on that, we use manual CPC for clients like that. Or even if that's not the case, you can still leverage manual CPC to just control your cost on your brand name. And as long as you're getting a high search impression share for the cheapest cost possible, manual CPC will work and it will convert well. But again, I've really only leveraged this for either shopping campaigns because it can help you really monitor any rising cost on shopping or on my branded campaigns. And so bid strategies 9 through 11, these are way less common. These are going to be bid strategies that are mostly leveraged on display network. And this is essentially when you're telling Google that you want to bid for a certain number of impressions or viewable impressions and what you want your average bid to be and what you want your max CPC to be. So these ones are not leveraged as much as the other ones. They're not as commonly used because display on Google Ads is very, very hard to get right unless you have a very, very massive budget. So I'm actually going to skip over those ones. Those ones are not eligible in any search campaigns or in any shopping campaigns. And so number 12, I'm actually not going to cover in this video because this is not a direct bid strategy that you just select. This is actually an approach at the campaign level where you can combine campaigns together to leverage one bid strategy and one target. It's an effective thing you can pursue, but it's not something that you set on a one campaign per basis. And so I'm not going to cover this. Okay, now that we've established what each bid strategy is, and again, my personal recommendations on what I've seen work and just an understanding of what each one means, let's talk about some of the common pitfalls or misunderstandings with these bid strategies being used. Again, the very things I'm about to unpack are the things that keep people stuck. They have a very good bid strategy, but they're saying, hey, TCPA or target ROAS or maximize conversion value. These campaign bid strategies just don't work for me. However, they're just not leveraging them properly. Or if they're leveraging them right now, they're going, I can't seem to scale with this bid strategy, and it's because you're not leveraging it the right way. So there's really 6 common mistakes that I see with bid strategies being used. And so for number 1, it's going to be that you just have poor conversion tracking or non-existent conversion tracking. And the reason this is detrimental to using an automated bid strategy, or really any of the bid strategies that I just mentioned, is twofold. One is the obvious. You're not ever going to be able to see data to know if you're optimizing the right way, if you're hurting the account or benefiting the account. If your conversion tracking is broken, your whole ad account is broken. And then number 2 is you're never going to be able to tell the algorithm what is most effective to you. The whole goal of the algorithm is to set the bid appropriately in relation to their confidence that the user is going to be able to complete the behavior on the website that you want them to do. Again, that is a lead form submission, a phone call, a purchase. And if you are not tracking those things correctly, then the algorithm essentially does not know how to bid effectively. So smart bidding essentially is broken from the start if your conversion tracking is not crystal clear. And I start with this as the most common mistake because this really is the most common mistake. If I were to audit 10 accounts, 8 of them would have broken conversion tracking to some degree, that either have broken conversion tracking, that either have double counting conversion tracking, which is just as detrimental, or they're tracking events that don't matter. Things like newsletter subscriptions, page views, things of that nature. And if you train the algorithm to get good at getting people to just view a page, they will do that and your bids will look great. You'll see a ton of conversions in the ad account, but you'll never trust your data because you'll go, why am I getting 100 conversions, but I really only had 10 leads? And that's why, is you're optimizing for the wrong things. And so make sure your conversion tracking is set up correctly if you want to actually leverage the impact of these smart bid strategies. So mistake number 2 that I see a lot of advertisers and business owners make when they're running their own ads is they focus on the overall quantity of their clicks over the quality of the clicks. And so what do I mean by this? Don't be focused on the amount of clicks you're getting, focus on the actual impact of those clicks. So focus on the actual conversions you're getting, irregardless of how expensive your clicks are or how little your clicks are. If I get 10 clicks versus 100 clicks, but those 10 clicks get me 7 conversions and the 100 clicks get me 1 conversion, I'm gonna optimize for those 10 clicks. I'll take that strategy all day long. I don't care how many clicks I get. I care how much money the Google Ads account makes me. Clicks is just another vanity metric, so do not chase it. Common mistake number 3 is slightly a piggyback off of point number 2, and this is just when you're focusing on how much the cost per click is. And so I'm kind of playing a little bit of a tug of war here with this one because yes, you do not want to pay astronomical prices for your cost per clicks, especially if your conversion rates are not there. However, if you're only concerned about your cost per click and that's all you're looking at, then you're going to look right past the fact that the more expensive click could actually be the one that's going to drive the conversion. And in most cases, what I've been seeing recently in my ad accounts is there's a very clear correlation that the more expensive my cost per click, the higher my conversion rate. And so what that's been telling me recently is that actually the higher cost per click just means that I'm attracting a higher quality visitor, and Google Ads is making me pay the premium, which as long as it's profitable, I'll keep paying. Common mistake number 4 that I see is people just do not test their bid strategies. They have a set it and forget it mentality. If maximize conversions is working for them and they're slightly profitable, but they're not growing, but they're in a comfortable spot, they will not test another bid strategy because it is risky. And sure, it is a little risky to test a bid strategy because you are essentially resetting the learning on the campaign. However, testing a new bid strategy does not take that long to learn, especially if the account and the campaign are already mature. So do not be afraid to take the leap, especially if you have the knowledge that target ROAS, TCPA, or any of the various bid strategies I went over would actually benefit you more than the one you're currently running. And so if you're a little bit nervous about doing this, duplicate a campaign, test it in a new campaign at a smaller budget, let that collect some data. And to be honest, that will take a little bit longer because that campaign has new data, or you can just rip the Band-Aid off and test it in the existing campaign. I've done both. I honestly prefer just ripping the Band-Aid off, especially if I have high confidence that it can generate a better result. And the reason I have high confidence in those is not only because of the experience I have, but also just being informed about these bid strategies. And so that's what I've done that's what I've equipped you with today. I've shared my experience with you and what I've seen in my ad accounts. And so you can take that knowledge and now you can be well informed and you do not have to be scared to test. On the contrary, hopping into mistake number 5 that I typically see is people are testing bid strategies too often. If you are giving a bid strategy 7 days to perform and then you're changing it to another bid strategy, and then it's just this cyclical thing that's going on every 7 days, every 7 to 14 days, that's not nearly enough time for smart bidding to work and to snowball. And so I just use that word snowball. That's exactly what these bid strategies will do. And what I've seen over the last 7 years is over time, these bid strategies get more and more and more effective the longer you let them run and the longer you let them work. And so my general rule is be informed, make an informed decision about if you're going to test a bid strategy, but let it run for at least 3 weeks before you decide to cut it. And then common mistake number 6 that I see has to do with the targets that you set. And so we have your target ROAS bid strategy and we have your TCPA bid strategy. And essentially at these ones, again, you are setting a goal. You're setting a goal on target cost per acquisition for Google to hit a specific cost per action. Essentially, you want them to get a lead at $50, right? And so you set a $50 cost per lead. And so couple issues here. If you are telling Google to get you a $10 lead and your cost per clicks are $5, that's a 50% conversion rate. Google will not even spend your budget if your cost per acquisition goals are too extreme. I'd rather them actually be too loose than too extreme, because if they're too extreme, Google does not have the confidence that they can get you a click that'll convert that high, so they won't even spend your budget. And on the contrary, if they're too extreme, at least Google will spend your budget and they will start to get you a CPA, and you'll start to realize, hey, Google's getting me a cost per conversion at 40 bucks. I had my CPA goal set at 50. I'll start to trim it down to $40 to see if they can consistently do that, because I know that they'll spend my daily budget at that amount, and that's a realistic goal. So do not set it too extreme. And then once you have it, again, I had mentioned, start to work it back. Some people leave it at a fixed target for years and they never actually reach their fullest potential in their Google account. It can be much more efficient, but you have to slowly work it back until it stops spending your full daily budget. And then once it stops spending your full daily budget at your certain CPA goal or your target ROAS goal, you'll know where you've reached your point of diminishing returns. And your point of diminishing returns for those campaigns is when you can spend your full daily budget and become the most efficient. So let's bring this to a real example. If you are setting a target ROAS goal of, let's just say 300%, Google can consistently get you 400%. Maybe you set your target ROAS goal to 400%, and Google continues to do this and get you 400% ROAS. But the moment you go up to 420%, Google's only spending about 80% of your budget now, but they're getting you a 420% ROAS. Well, now you know that your point of diminishing returns, meaning how much budget can I spend at my goal, so in this case it was 420%, is only 80% of your overall campaign budget. And so now you have to decide, is it better for me to collect volume and get 400% ROAS at a slightly higher budget, or do I want to be more efficient? And so that's kind of how you work it back. And so the most common thing that I see is people do not know how to actually set these targets, and they do not know effectively how to manipulate these targets so they can actually scale the ad account. And so quick side note on your target cost per acquisition bid strategy, if you decide to use that, is that your daily budget should at least be 2 times of your target cost per acquisition. So if you're giving a target cost per acquisition of $50, your budget should at least be $100 a day. Well, I hope this was helpful, and now you should have the confidence and the knowledge to go and select the right bid strategy that's most impactful for your company's goals. Now, if you want me to run your ads and to grow your business, book a call by hitting the link in the description. Otherwise, if you're looking to improve your search campaigns, it all starts with keyword research. Hit the video above where I talk about the most effective way to do keyword research this year. And subscribe to stay up to date with more videos like this. Thank you guys.